gathering here today to engage in critical dialogue about the imperative role of youth participation in shaping the direction of societal welfare and environmental policies for the future. The topic for today's panel discussion is discussing youth engagement in social work and environment policy, the barriers, importance, and the future. This topic in today's forum enables people of different age groups and walks of life to connect on common grounds and discuss capacity building measures as a community. And we strongly believe that the scope of youth engagement spans from local grassroots movements to global advocacy efforts. This can include everything from participating in a small local cleanup drive to representing youth interests in international forums like the United Nations. The chosen topic serves as a constant reminder that youth and the community together can foster immense change in the scope of environmental activism. I am Samyukta Chandrasekhar and this is Hamrita, and we'll be hosting the panel discussion for today. And right now it's time to commence the panel discussion, but before that, the most important aspect is to welcome our esteemed panelists and members, and I would like to call upon Satvik to give the guest profile and welcome them.
Now let's take a look at our esteemed panelists. First up, we have Dr. Prahaladan. Dr. Prahaladan is the co-founder of Bhumi, one of India's leading youth volunteer organizations. Originally an ophthalmologist, he shifted focus to social impact after the 2015 Chennai floods. At Bhumi, he drives volunteer initiatives, program strategies, and fundraising efforts. He also leads ACOM, enhancing maternal and child health, and co-leads Giving Tuesday in India. His leadership is a testament to his dedication to social change and community service. Sir, can we please have you on stage? Thank you. Next up, we have Mr. Sunil Jayaram. Mr. Sunil Jayaram, Senior Vice President at Tech Mahindra, is a seasoned technologist with over 25 years of global IT consulting experience. After a successful career in Chennai, Singapore, and Silicon Valley, he returned to India in 2012 and to co-found Chitlapakam Racing, a volunteer movement dedicated to restoring local lakes and promoting environmental stewardship. His work bridges technological innovation and environmental conservation, driving an impactful change. Can we have a round of applause for Mr. Sunil Jayaram? Also joining us is Mr. N. Balaji. Mr. N. Balaji, Managing Trustee of the Nature Trust in Chennai, combines his software engineering expertise with passion for wildlife conservation. A skilled wildlife photographer, he collaborates with the Tamil Nadu Forest Department and leads census in areas like Pallikarnai Marshland and Gindi National Park. His work in documenting avian life and promoting environmental awareness among youth highlights his commitment to preserving wildlife and ecosystems. Can we have a round of applause for him too? Thank you. We also have Mr. Bharati Kannan joining us. Mr. Bharati Kannan, a junior advocate at the Madras High Court and project associate at IITM, is a passionate social and environmental activist. With a background in law and activism, he leads community initiatives like the Agati Garden and founded Namasande, an organic market supporting local farmers. His work emphasizes youth empowerment, challenging power structures, and promoting sustainable living through seminars, workshops, and clubs. Can we have you on stage, sir? Following this, we have Ms. Sunanda. Ms. Sunanda is dedicated to urban ecology, focusing on research and policy to address urban environmental challenges. She connects people to nature through engaging stories, interesting facts, and a positive attitude. Passionate about wildlife preservation and environmental education, Ms. Sunanda inspires her community with her enthusiasm and commitment to protecting the environment. Can we have you on stage, ma'am? Thank you. Finally, we have our very own principal, Ms. Sarasa. Ms. Sarasa, co-founder and principal of Budding Minds International School, is a renowned Jolly Phonics trainer and a PDQ leader for Cambridge Professional Development Programs. With extensive experience in education, she is also a passionate advocate for the environment and equality, inspiring others as an environmental management teacher. Can we have you on stage, ma'am? Thank you so much. Back to Samir and Amrita.
How many of you are going to enjoy the panel discussion today? A very few to what I expected. The rest are not going to enjoy? Okay, so is it enjoyable in the first place? Is it? Yes? Only one thumbs up I could see. The rest? You know how is it enjoyable? Only when we listen. Yes or no? I see a lot of conversation going because yes, you are allowed if you have a question to pose to us. Else we are going to listen. Can we do that? Can we do that? Thank you, students.
Okay, yeah, so it's been an honor to have all our panelists assembled here to kickstart our panel discussion. So first, to warm things up a little bit, we'll be having like a round of sorts where we'll be having one common question and all the panelists can come forward and give us a gist about your experience concerning the question, and you can just go about like a free-flowing discussion or conversation of sorts with no restrictions. And to all the audience, you're allowed to ask questions once each of the panelists give up their answers or speech. So kindly do keenly listen to what is being said here, because all of them are really experienced and esteemed guests here, and they will have a lot to share, and we have a lot to learn from all of them. So let's make the fullest of all their valuable insights and guidance. So thank you so much for listening again. So starting on with the first question. As environmental experts, how has your experience been of working with young people in your line of work that spans from a different broad number of sectors, from education to volunteering to community projects? So tell us about your experience with working with young people and students.
Actually, one of our key motives with when we started the Nature Trust, right, one of the key motives was bringing children into this. The idea came up because our founder was closely working with Police Boys Club. You might not be aware of Police Boys Club. It is a club where children who are easily prone to get dragged into wrong things, right? So those children, there will be a tuition center, there will be a mentor, so that they will make sure that these children don't get distracted or picked up by wrong people for the wrong purpose. So we started working with those kids. So we brought them into this Pallikannai Marsh. We trained them in bird watching, and we made sure that they always focus on all the positive sides of the world. So other than their education, we also make sure that their other pastime would be on a positive side. So we bring them for nature work. So today, I'm happy to share with you of those kids, now they are like gurus to us. So they now tell us, this is how you identify this bird. So that is one thing that I'm very happy, and that is my experience working with children. So we cannot take children just for granted, because they are sharper than us, they learn quick, and they will surpass us, and quickly they will become our gurus. So I hope everybody here will follow the same path. Thanks.
Thank you so much, sir.
In my experience, I think young people are more aware about our duties to the environment and the planet than people of my generation were. We work with young people through 3 programs. One is an environmental education program for schools, where it's a hands-on approach for young people to learn about the environment and apply it in their daily life. They have to do a project, and the kind of things that they come up with has blown our minds away. The second thing is, many people, young people are wanting to volunteer for different causes. I started volunteering in college, and that itself, at my age, people used to ask, instead of focusing on your career, why are you doing this? Now when young people call and ask like what do you do? They say I'm in class 10 or 11. I'm like very surprised. So I think the awareness about how much they can contribute and the need to contribute is much higher among today's young people than of my age or people older than me. We also have a online learning management system where people wanting to learn about how they can be more environmentally aware. There is a system where people are doing. Again, we see a lot of interest from young people to use those tools to make themselves better prepared for the future.
So, if you ask my experience, I'm actually glad to hear from you both that, like, you know, you are able to engage youth and you are seeing them, you know, involved. But when it comes to as a school, as a principal, it's most of the time, every single year, I need to actually tell students to how EVM is very important. Okay, so I'm sure you'll agree, not all schools provide EVM as a subject. You know, very, very few schools actually come up with this subject. I mean, that's really a pathetic situation when it comes to education institution in India as such. Because, again, you know, a family or the society, they aren't sure of what kind of scope will EVM subject provide for the youngsters now. So my experience is quite challenging. I do keep talking to parents, I do keep talking to students and, you know, answer them to why is it important, not just because of white collar jobs, at least to be aware of what, in which society are we living in and how the society should be and how are we responsible for that. So, yeah, it's quite challenging for me if you ask me experience, yeah.
I think it's because people like you are asking them, they are coming and asking us. Maybe the awareness is high because schools now are insisting on it and the curriculums now are insisting on it. Definitely, I once asked a mentor, how can children volunteer? She said that it's not about what they do through the volunteering, but after they volunteer, how you make them reflect and understand so that they become better citizens.
Hello, check. So in Chitlapakam Rising, we do two things. One is volunteering, lake cleanup, greening and all the other activities. The main course of work is activism. So we bring attention to core issues that are in the town. So the government notices it and then takes action on it. And we are very successful because we engage women and kids in our activities. So if you take the lake issue, so Chitlapakam Lake was filled with sewage and garbage for decades. So it really got the attention because we put children in the front line. So there were kids, I mean, you might know Sanjanya is from Budding Minds and she was joining our activities from her 7th grade onwards. And now she is in college and she still continues, consistently joins our activities. So children are the main core formula and success on how we brought attention to the core issues and how they actively participated. And I think during my school days, I mean, we never cared about environment or nature or anything other than playing and maybe some subject. But I think these days, the good thing I'm noticing is there is a lot of interest from the students community to come and participate, plant trees, join the cleaning activities. And one thing is there is more awareness of all the things that are happening around us. I think the climate change and weather crisis, all of us are highly noticing it. You are all actively involved. The second thing is I think schools are also kind of making it mandatory for the kids to participate in some shape or form. So you have a credit system now which counts all the extracurricular things that you are able to do. And I see this only increasing. And as a student, the other benefit besides the awareness and besides doing hands-on greening and cleaning is you get to network with a lot of good-hearted, like-minded people who join these activities, which will help you in many different ways in the future. So your network will expand, you will be able to seek help above and beyond the remit of the activities. So I look forward to engaging more and more students in our activities.
Very good afternoon to one and all. I had a very diverse day experience. You cannot generalize. because depending upon each and every group of youth students, it differs. So I have traveled, I went for a cycle expedition across Tamil Nadu for 6,000 kilometers, and highlighting on environmental issues, and I have engaged with more than 10,000 students, both college and school. So from government school to private school, I can see the differences. I can see the differences a lot. So the socio-economical factors plays a very important role in engaging with them, and also in using the words, terms, everything. So the exposure to the private school kids are very much higher than the government schools. But the government school kids are very sensitive, very sensible also. They are very sharp also. We cannot judge them. Sometimes the questions from them, no, it's very surprising. You cannot be able to respond to those questions when they ask. So only when you are student, when you are in your youth, you have the surplus time. Once you become an adult, you don't have that surplus time. So during that surplus time only you can productively engage. Your minds will be very fresh. You will be asking questions. You are not tamed, right? You are not tamed. You are about to be tamed. So you, it's like, yeah, I see, before being an adult, the students like keep on asking questions. Once they become adult, no, the questions are being stopped. They are not questioning. So I find it difficult to feed them. I find it difficult to follow up with them, and it's very challenging. So I have to equip myself. I have to read a lot. I have to learn many things from. It's like even learning and unlearning. So it is the students and the youth, particularly school students. From them, I learned that learning is mutual. It's not about one side, like one way. It's a both way. So when we go to the students, when we engage with them, we have to be in an open mind. We have to make sure that we should unlearn things also. We should be open to unlearn things, because that's very important. So it's very interesting. And I see the only hope in future lies only when I spoke or engaged with the students and youth, because they are the futures. And it's very interesting. Yeah, that's it.
So from an organizational perspective, I work as a part of Care Earth Trust, and we hold nature culture education. We're working on a nature culture education project, and it works with middle school and high school children. And an essential part of that is that in order for us to conserve the environment and ensure that knowledge exchange, which again is vital for conservation to take place, we need to work with kids. And there's also just the fact that kids themselves they're more curious, and they're able to kind of hold on to their sense of curiosity, which sort of is hard to maintain as you grow up. So that sort of building on that curiosity to enable them to engage with the environment is an essential part of the project, and in that sense is vital for us to work with youth. And also they have a unique perspective in the way they engage with the environment is not always what we might see as adults, and so that is also very valuable. Personally speaking, when I have sort of, let's say, volunteered alongside youth or my fellows in, let's say, planting, afforestation work, or taking part in movements, for example, to conserve urban forests. Something that Sunil sir mentioned, that ability to network with like-minded people, there is like nothing as joyful or as powerful as walking along with your peers, or planting a forest together. When it's something that you're really emotionally close to, that is a very powerful feeling. Especially with youth, there's more enthusiasm and there's like a kind of courage that comes from that moment. So I think that is what I'd like to.
So I think from what all our panelists said, it was quite evident that every time they refer to youth, it's none other than you and me, right? So they're referring to students, and they also highlight the responsibility that each of us hold and the kind of freedom that we can exercise effectively to be able to channelize that power into the right kind of things to impact and change the world around us. So thank you all the 6 panelists for answering to our questions. And now we'll be moving on. So any of you, do you have any questions to ask them based on the answers they've given you? Anyone? Any questions to any of the panelists? You can shoot out right now.
Actually, like, I had a generic question to everyone. Like, how did they first take a step into environment? Like, what triggered them to take a step towards the wellness of the environment?
If not now, when? Right? So you are facing at a very glaring issue. So should you be stepping in to solve it? Should you do it now or postpone it for a later time? So for me, every time I get the right answer, that's my self-initiation to solve a problem. So I definitely advocate you to think that phrase whenever you are at a crossroads of any issue in your life. You will always get the right answer.
I personally see that question, it's very interesting. It's the instinct. I think that the instinct only brought us together here. The instinct is, we have heard about mother's instinct, animal instinct, human instinct, right? We have a very close bonding towards the Mother Earth, and that is through the instinct. And that instinct is being totally depleted, or it's almost in the verge of wiping off. When I was at your age, when I come across a news that the plastic will compose around some 500,000 years ago, some 20 years before, I was like, that day was a sleepless night to me. Like, I was very disturbed, and I felt very guilty whenever I was like about to use plastics. And I saw that is the instinct in me. So we have to make sure that the instinct, no? You have seen the movie Avatar, right? So like the instinct, so we have to groom that instinct, we have to cherish it, and that's the reason I came into on environmental activism and environmental wellness, as you said. Yeah.
Also kind of related to instinct. So part of it was through childhood. I was climbing trees, or when I grew up in Velachery, there would be like marsh turtles walking on the road. And a lot of birds in the area, different birds. So it was just an interest of getting to know more about them. And then eventually, as I grew up, I also came to read about how a lot of problems that people were facing were ultimately due to their environment. And so I just kept having more and more questions about that, and so I'm where I am right now.
Yeah, so due to the time constraint, we'll just move on to the directed questions now.